Am I an idiot for refusing to abandon my grandchild over my idiotic daughter? I, female 56, and my husband Kurt, male 59. Have 2 daughters, Ruth 32 and June 30th. 8 years ago, Ruth split up with her college boyfriend, Adam 32. They'd been together since she was 21st, and it was as serious as a college relationship could be. About 5 years ago, June announced that she reconnected with Adam at some alumni get-together. They'd all gone to the same university, and that they were now dating. Of course, Kurt and I were shocked she would do this despite her sister's history with him. But she insisted that they were in love and she can't help that, and that Ruth and Adam hadn't been together in years, so she hasn't done anything wrong. Ruth understandably was enraged over it. She said she was done with June and would never see her again. This broke me. They were so close growing up and I prayed every day they'd reconcile. But I accepted they're adults who can make their own choices and we have no say. Kurt and I were also very disappointed with June and told her off many times. But after she proved that there was never any cheating involved while Ruth and Adam were together, things between us settled down. Out of respect for Ruth's feelings, we never brought the girls together again. Ruth and June visit us separately and still aren't on speaking terms after 5 years, but we maintained our relationships. Now, June and Adam are married. Ruth has also moved on with a lovely boy. Coincidentally, both girls are expecting their first child. Ruth's due date is a little earlier. I can't put into words how excited we are to be grandparents and adore both these children. I've been supportive and is involved with both our daughters' pregnancies as they want. However, last week Ruth dropped a bomb on us. She said that if we ever see June again or her baby, she won't allow us in her child's life. This shattered me. It keeps me up every night. The thought of either of my grandchildren being deprived of loving grandparents is agonizing. I know Ruth was deeply hurt by June's actions, but I don't know if we should be punished just for not cutting our kid off. How can any parent even consider disowning a child? We begged her to reconsider and said our love for them both isn't conditional and we can't just stop loving one, but she's adamant. I don't want to accept Ruth's terms, as it seems like no matter what we decide, we're going to lose a daughter and grandchild. So I'd rather it not happen because we outright chose it. But I also don't want Ruth to believe we'd just drop her in favor of June. Because again, the thought crushes me. Would I be the idiot if I don't comply with Ruth's ultimatum? A thank you to everyone for commiserating with this situation. I wish I could say it's helped me feel better, but right now it feels like nothing ever will. One of my babies hates the other. It broke me, but I accepted it. Now I'm faced with losing one of them no matter what. Entirely too many comments to respond to individually, so I just want to answer some of the most common questions here. Why did Ruth and Adam split up? Ruth left Adam because it just wasn't working. He was immature and said and did things that irritated her, mostly lots of minor things adding up. She said there was never any abuse nor cheating, but it was the right decision for herself. He was a nice enough boy, but he definitely had some growing up to do at the time. I did feel very badly for Ruth because she had invested a good few years into the relationship for someone so young, but agreed it was the right decision. Did we ever support Ruth? Ruth stayed with us for a few months when it first happened. Not just because of this, there were other reasons, and we were there for her and comforted her the whole time. Because she was so angry. We had asked June to not visit until she left. We still talked to her and met a couple of times in public places. We made it known that this hurt her sister and we were disappointed she didn't think of this. June understood and agreed with us supporting Ruth. She expressed sadness over losing her sister, but we clearly told her it was Ruth's decision to cut her off. Whether one thinks June did nothing wrong or not, it's untrue to say there were never any consequences for this. She's sad to this day that she's lost her sister and knows she has to accept and live with it. Did June ever apologize to Ruth? Both girls have confirmed that June reached out a few times over the years to apologize. No one put her up to it. Ruth didn't forgive her and she's well within her rights not to. We understand no one can or should make her accept the apology. Why don't we just cut off Adam? He's June's husband and the father of our second grandchild. They're a package deal now. Once we cut him off, we risk losing June and our grandchild anyway, which is the same as what I'm trying to prevent with Ruth. Some comments say that in letting June stay in our lives after this, I already chose her and asked why I didn't cut her off from the start. I'm baffled that anyone would suggest I could just disown a child so easily like she was never ours. Not disowning June doesn't mean I chose to be her mother over Ruth's. I never abandoned Ruth and never will. Ruth has thanked us for our support in the past. She said she was fine with how we'd arranged things for the last 5 years. As long as she never had to see June, she was happy seeing us and everything was normal between us. It's only now that she wants us to disown June. Some say she should have cut us off years ago for still loving June. She's said many times her goal isn't to cut us off. She loves us and wants us to be involved with her child, but that she can't stand June or her baby getting the same love and care from us because she thinks she doesn't deserve it. I want to add that if Adam had ever abused or cheated on Ruth, we certainly would have gone no contact or at least LC with them. But that's not what happened, and both girls used to repeatedly tell us that what happened between them had nothing to do with us. So yes, I did keep my relationship with both daughters. I don't regret it because as heartbreaking as this is, willingly cutting off either of them, outside of the circumstances I mentioned, is unfathomable to me or their father. Update. We followed the advice and told Ruth that if she decided to go no contact, we would comply. But we could never willingly cut off either of them. We again begged her to reconsider and reiterated that we were willing to go do family therapy, that we would do all we could to keep her and June apart, anything to make it work. She said she still wasn't happy that June and her baby would stay in our lives, but she would think about it. Kurt and I also looked into opening an account for Ruth's child, but didn't go through with it yet in hopes that things could turn around. Days went by. We didn't hear back from Ruth. It was agony. Then we get a call from June. She'd gotten wind of what was happening through mutual family. She drove to Ruth's herself. No one put her up to this. She was prepared for Ruth to kick her out anyway. Once she was there, she apologized again and begged her not to do this. She said she could accept Ruth wanting nothing to do with her, but not to punish us because of it, especially since they both knew that cutting us off would cost her child-loving grandparents. Shockingly, Ruth didn't kick her out. She let her in and they both had a long tearful argument. Fight. They even hugged a few times. I'm foggy on details, but I suspect pregnancy hormones played a huge role here. I can't tell you how panicked I was hearing this story, because it could have been so risky for them both. They haven't exactly made up and Ruth didn't forgive June, but she admitted to her that her husband, Owen, has actually been trying to convince her to go to couples counseling and individual therapy as well. Apparently since Ruth's pregnancy, some troubling qualities that he was able to deal with previously were exacerbated. She was becoming controlling and paranoid and he was pleading with her to get help so they could be in a good place once the baby was born. June's visit was the final straw and Ruth broke down and agreed. Ruth called us later. She corroborated June's story and accepted our therapy offer. She still has one condition. She wants Owen there if June has to attend any sessions, and she doesn't want Adam present at all. We all agreed. The first session is in a few days. I can barely keep it together that I'll see both my babies in the same room for the first time in forever. It's been so stressful, but I can finally see some light. I haven't lost my daughters. Kurt and I are going to put everything into keeping our family together. I'm not going to be naive and assume everything will be fine now, but I'm hopeful. I want to thank everyone again for all the comfort and help. To those who sent kind DMs sharing their similar situations, I truly appreciate your solidarity. As for those who sent DMs calling one or both of my daughters whores, sluts, and hoping that they lose their unborn babies, I can only hope nothing abhorrent in your lives is driving you to be so miserable as to wish such heinous things on a stranger. Not the idiot. I'm so glad Ruth is willing to go to therapy. I read your opus and it just broke my heart. My aunt made a similar threat, though she never explained why, to my grandparents, and they refused to willingly go no contact with any of their children and grandchildren. To this day my mother swears the pain and heartbreak was what really killed her dad. I really hope therapy and time will help your daughters and your family to heal. Not the idiot. Opus, I am so heartened to read this. Something good has come out of a really rough thing, and everyone is being very brave and trying to address this. I'm so glad you found some support here and June is so very brave. Hugs to all of you. Very happy that Ruth is getting help and some attempt at repairing their sisterly relationship is happening. Did the parents handle this well? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for wanting to get away from my awkward twin sister? I, female 17, have two older brothers, 19, 21, and a twin sister. I should mention that my family is pretty affluent. Ever since I remember myself, my parents encouraged me and my twin to compete with each other while they always favored her over me. She always had their support and I was expected to be considerate. When I succeed on something more than she does, they ask me to give it up, but they never ask this from her. I do love her and my parents even though I feel like I've been treated unfairly. Both of us aspired to be doctors for a long time. I studied really hard for it for a long time, so did she. This year we graduated and both of us applied for the same programs in the same universities. The process here is quite different than it is in the US. We can start med school right after high school if we get accepted. She wants to go to the same university as I do and so does my parents. I, on the other hand, feel like going on my own and having a separate life from my sisters. I love her so much but we've been together my entire life. She's an introvert while I'm an extrovert, so she followed me around most of the time. I always included her and made sure she's happy, but it's been like this our entire lives and I'm honestly tired. Not to mention that if we go to the same place I would be expected to study with her and help her get high grades and won't be able to study on my own and focus on my success. And my parents will be mad if I succeed more than her. It's been like this for the past 12 years, which will eventually hurt me. I just want to finally be a person of my own. This is where I might be the idiot. I got accepted to 4 different universities and she got into 2. I waited for her to decide where she wanted to go and then made my decision, like I said, a different place. Then she changed her mind and said she wants to go to her second option, the one I chose. I said that it's not a problem and I will go to a different place, one she didn't get into. My sister got really offended and my parents were furious, even though I explained myself politely and said that I love her but wanted to get a fresh start where nobody knows me. They demanded that I go to the same place as my sister or else they wouldn't pay for my degree. Then I said whatever and that I'll be fine on my own and left to my grandparents. When they came to talk to me they just kept on saying how wrong and entitled I am. I really had enough, so I told them I hate them for treating me like this. Now I'm refusing to talk to them and ignoring their calls. My brothers and grandparents are on my side but everyone else tells me I'm an idiot. So am I. I said in the comments. School started 2 weeks ago and so far it's absolutely amazing. I have great roommates and I love my classes. It's a bit intense but I'm keeping up. It's truly a dream come true. Well, some things happened. My parents apparently called my uni and asked for my schedule. From what I understand, they said that as my legal guardians they are entitled to know everything about it. The school told them that if they want my details they need to come and prove that they are indeed who they claim to be and informed me about it. It happened just a couple of days after school year started. They hadn't contacted me until a week ago when they asked me to have dinner with them, even offered to drive to where I am, which is strange as they never even bothered to pick me up from friends, and I agreed. It was on Friday. They reserved places in a fancy restaurant nearby. Dinner went surprisingly well. Bit awkward but they were nice. Then they told me they will pay for my school tuition and everything else I need. but only if I take a gap year. I refused obviously. After arguing with me, my dad said that he had enough of my attitude and ungratefulness, left a 200 francs bill and left. I'll admit that I sat there crying about half an hour before I left. With the change as the bill and the tip didn't reach 200 francs lol. If you're asking yourselves what was that about, then I did too. I talked to my brother. Apparently my sister decided she doesn't want to go to med school. She wants to take a vacation to think about the future with cleared mind or something like that, and you guessed it. Almost everyone think I should go with her. After all, we are twins and it will only be fair that we'll start studying at the same time. There was no contact from my parents ever since, but it's kinda okay with me. I got a scholarship and by the end of the semester I might get another one. My grandparents paid for the rest. They insist that I won't pay them back, but I'm already working on that. My sister answered my messages yesterday. She told me that I hurt her because I didn't want to be with her, and she doesn't know if she can forgive me. I understand her and I do really miss her, but I don't want to give up on my dream. I hope she will understand me someday. So basically I think things are alright by now. Not much has changed, but I have my grandparents and my friends, so I'm fine. I'll be completely calm only after my 18th birthday when my parents won't be able to get me out of uni. It's really soon, so I'm optimistic. Mini update. I'm still not talking to my parents. They tried to reach out, but I'm not interested. Not right now at least. I don't know nor interested in knowing what they wanted to say. I did talk to my sister though. She's currently in South America living her best life and searching for purpose. This is more or less a translation for her words. It will soon be exam season and it's pretty stressful, but I'm confident in most of my courses. Not the idiot. Great update. I am a twin and I despise parents who treat their twins to be exactly the same. Twins are individuals who happen to be born during the same pregnancy. You have done a great job realizing this and striking out on your own. You are setting yourself up for success and keep it up no matter how hard it gets. I am afraid your sister, while still may be successful eventually, is set up for the harder road by your parents' actions which she is feeding on. Just be open to her when and if she wises up to support her, but be ready if she never comes around and sets boundaries.